Greetings and welcome back to ASB Now episode 4. My name is Juda Richards and I'll be your host for this episode. Now surrounding me are some faces again, of course. So we just like them before we start for them to introduce themselves. Start on this side and we'll move this way.
All right, good day everyone. I'm Benjamin. I'm Rasool. I'm currently the chairperson for the Student Advisory Council.
I'm Vayani Toney. I'm the ASB president.
And my name is Brent, Remy, the Parliamentarian for ASB.
All right. Now, as of recording this, we just come off the Carnival weekend. So, we just want to... How everybody was this past weekend? How he was? What was the vibe?
Restful, nothing.
Yeah.
Restful? Okay, now nobody was on the streets, right? No? Okay, nice.
Only for food.
Okay. So, as I said, it's past after this Carnival weekend, it's been like 2 months since the semester started, coming out to the end of February. What do you think, what's your reflections on the past semester, second semester so far?
Well, for me personally, the semester started off slowly and gradually picked up pace. And now in February, the semester almost finished, just a few more months, a month and a half to go before we officially call it George, right? And for some, myself and Brent and Rasool, we are all leaving in July, so it's a bittersweet moment for me personally.
Understandable. So, what do you think? What's happened so far this semester in terms of what you've done?
Well, so far regarding ASB, we have done a lot of. I won't say a lot. We have done various items so far, right? If I can just touch base on previous and come forward to 2023,
sure, okay.
We, as you guys know, we gave us scholarships last year, and we're doing it this year again. We are still putting together logistics behind the names and so forth. We had financial aid assistance. We also had freshman social last year, and this year or this semester we've had Freshers Week, where we had a hike to Mark's Waterfall and also a scavenger hunt just a few weeks ago. Last year as well, we had Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We also had workshops for all student workers and so forth. We've had Speed Friendships this semester. I think it was last week we had over 500 students from UE, USC, of course, our main campus, Tobago, South came on, NCU came on, UE, Kville, St. Augustine, I said before. We had a few from Costa, I think. And who else we had? Oh, and of course, the school that stood out the most on the Speed Friendship was Guyana. They came out. The guy on the campus, the UG students came out on that day. They came on that day with their president. They came out on Mr. Gill came out on that day to support our program, which I appreciate. So far we've had that from last year, and if I can give what to expect in this semester, we have ISW coming up in March 26th. ISW coming up. We have Open Day. Our Mr. Rasool talk about that as well. We also have Sway Awards on March 5th. It's Sway Awards, and we have Olympia, the well-awaited Olympia period, the sports period, coming up on March 16th. We want all schools, business, humanities, education, social, sci-tech, nursing, all these schools coming together to support and to take part in Olympia 2023. We have a lot of activities planned. We have track and field. We've had sack race. We have horseback riding as well. I was shocked to see horseback riding on that list of stuff for Olympia 2023.
Yeah, that looks good.
It looks good for who can ride a horse, right? Imagine us on a horse on an open field, right? In a horse for Olympia. That was crazy.
A moment. Yeah, record that one.
We must see USC really is diverse, and they even involve animals in their program. So that's what we are expecting, and as well as ASB Elections upcoming as well. So look forward to seeing these programs being done in this semester.
Okay, well, that's really packed, So make sure to look forward to all those things. Now, Benjamin, you said you're the chairman of the Student Advisory Council.
Yeah.
So I'm not exactly too familiar. So can you just explain to me, give me a little information about what's going on in terms of that?
Well, the Student Advisory Council, pretty much, let's say, as we call it for short, SAC. It really comprises of all the presidents of the social clubs and social and academic clubs, and of course, it's led by the chairman, and the chairperson has an assistant, an administrative assistant, and the SAC is really responsible primarily for the conducting of and staging of the associated student body election. All right, of course, which we're expecting, which we're excited about, is coming up shortly.
Yeah.
Excited.
Yeah. for the guys leaving, I'm not.
We're leaving. Not excited for some.
For the ones who are coming in for sure.
Yeah.
All right. And of course, the information regarding its composition and function, so forth, it's found in the constitution of the associated student body. Page 32, I think the Parliamentarian is here. You can bail me out. Section 10, Article 10, page 32. All right. So you can read a bit more in terms of SAC and its functions as it relates to election and so forth.
Okay. So in terms of who can run for that stuff?
All right. Well, there are a number of things there, and for persons who are eligible to run, they're candidates, of course. Once they're nominated by a student of USC, they need to be at least in their second year of university. That is the first thing we want to be reminded of. In addition to that, they should also be registered and have a regular admission status.
Right.
Okay. And of course, once you've cleared those two hurdles, you should be a student or a candidate rather who would have maintained an accumulative GPA of at least 3, or not, as a matter of fact, not less than 3.0.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
All right, and you should be in good citizenship standing.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that speaks for itself.
Correct.
And just a special point to note for persons vying for presidents, the ones who are going to take the responsibility that Mr. Vayani has now. You must be in your third or fourth year. All right, for you to be eligible to run as a candidate.
3.5 GPA.
3.5
All right.
GPA.
Yeah.
Right. So you talked about the Constitution. So, Mr. Parliamentarian, right?
Yes, sir.
So I just explain what is the Constitution? What does it do for us? What's up with that?
Well, the Constitution is the guiding principle, the document that tells you what you can do, how you can do it, how you should do it to keep order and stability. Just like any country has its constitution and so on, just so too does the ASB have a constitution. It's necessary to keep order. It's necessary to ensure that things doesn't just go haywire and people do what they want, how they want, and then things money and so on start go missing and so on. We need to make sure we keep everything in check and that everything has a specific order in which it should be done. Yeah.
Okay. So what does that really say about the election process? So,
well,
in regards to the election process,
the election process, the Constitution actually has an entire article on this. Article 5, the election and campaigning procedures. There's a date in which the election should be called. That's the second Thursday in April, and the way in which the announcement will be made, who will make the announcement, how the candidates will be given a time to basically have a little debate or a little introduction of themselves. Well, the president's debate, the other candidates basically introduce themselves and give some plans about them, what they want to do in their term in office. As the SAC chairman stated, you must have a minimum cumulative GPA of 3.0 because this is the highest student governing body. You cannot have persons who not really showing that they can balance work and extracurricular running for student government.
That makes sense.
So yeah, you must have a minimum GPA of 3.2, and for the president, you must have 3.5 or above, and be in your third or fourth year. So there's a lot of information. I don't want to give you all of this and bore you out, but
okay, well that's fine. So just like one small question though,
Mhm.
is the current ASB executive, are they in any way in a part of the elections and the nomination?
oh no,
No.
that is
Corruption.
for lack of a better term.
Okay.
And
You with it,
in
yeah?
no form or way is the ASB executive involved in the elections. As Mr. Rasool once more said, the SAC is the committee that is responsible for governing, supervising, running, monitoring, and counting of the ballots and so on. The ASB executive have no role at all to play in that. it's so strict that if the SAC executives, which comprise of the presidents of across the campus, the social, cultural, academic club presidents, they are part of this, but they want to run for elections for ASB, they have to recuse themselves from the committee. They cannot be on the committee and still supervising the elections.
Correct.
So that's to tell you, it's one of the most pure and unbiased and uncorrupt committees on this campus.
Correct.
All right, so I can be sure that your regime as well was very above the board.
Of course, very much
Right.
so. Very much so.
I just want to add to what Parliamentarian would have shared. Of course, the SAC doesn't operate in and of itself. All right, it liaises with the Vice President for Student Services and Enrollment Management of USC. Of course, that is the name of Pastor. All right, and we seek to just ensure that, as the guys would have said, the process is transparent. There's clear audit trail and so forth, and having persons recuse themselves and that kind of thing is primarily to avoid conflict of interest. All right, and so forth. So yeah, we're looking forward to it, and things are pretty much in place, and we're going forward. I just want to remind persons that yes, even within the Constitution, as we have things in place, there are dynamics. There are things that are dynamically evolving. So there are times when you may have to make a tweak here and there. But as far as it relates to the Constitution and all documents that governs the election, we try to ensure that that is a clear and good, transparent audit trail regarding our processes.
Oh, and with that being said, there are amendments coming out to the Constitution, so stay tuned for that.
Okay, nice. Yes, still work is still being put in.
Yes, yes.
Okay, well that's good. It's good to know that you're still doing the good stuff.
Yeah.
So, Mr. President, you've been president for a while now, right? You've acclimated to the role, and your time is almost up. So but
my chest is tight.
it'd be like that. So I just wanted to what at this point, right? What do you think makes a good Yushan leader? What do you think goes into it? What do you think you need for the role as somebody who's there now?
Well, initially when I started off as ASB president, I was lost. I didn't quite understood the role that a president should basically take up, or what I was supposed to be doing on campus. Because I was in Antigua at that time. So because of Pastor Onese's Lafleur's guidance, I came to Trinidad to get myself acquainted better with the campus life and so forth. So with the whole Yushan leader, I am still learning and growing personally to be a good leader. But for those persons coming into the whole aspect, or for the person that will take over my role in a few months, that person should not be afraid to take risk. They should not be afraid to speak up and to also challenge various rules of various rules and various basically situations. Don't be afraid to challenge. So for example, if you have a strong stance on, let's say, free speech, you should not be afraid to speak up for the students. Basically, be their voice, team voice, right? right.
God.
So a Yushan leader should have they should be honest. They should have integrity, right? There are times when you have to deal with different situations that will question your morals or your ethics, and so you have to really know how to separate your personal views from the role as president, right? Or even as a director of a department, social and cultural, student workers, public relations. You should be able to separate yourself, your personal opinion, your personal life from your role, right? So as you enter this role, you have to also know how to balance school. You have to balance school as well, because you don't want to have your schoolwork being affected, because at the end of the day, you are still a student. A president, director, but you're still a student at USC, right? And the moment your GPA drops below the expected criteria, SAC will come in and they will smoothly remove you from from that role. So guys, ensure you guys know to balance your schoolwork, your personal life, and also balance your role, whatever role you choose to get in as within the ASB. Right, so
this is not just limited to ASB as well. This should be for anything.
Yeah, and anybody. Yeah,
life. This is just good life advice from Vayani right now. He's just spitting.
Yeah.
So if I'm like I'm a student, right?
Mhm.
Like I'm now coming in. What should I really be looking for to nominate for my in terms of ASB? Like what should I be looking for in my leaders?
Well, avoid popularity,
Yes.
right? I find that previous years, we have persons voting for popularity. Popularity, yes, it gets the vote, but it doesn't get the work done, right? You can be popular and still do nothing within your role, right? So if you're looking for someone to nominate someone who you know for sure represent your interests, and doesn't matter. They will not represent, like for example, represent only society, represent only theology, and show that you find someone that basically show you the ideal that they represent everybody, male, female, Adventist, non-Adventist, Catholic, whatever, represent everybody across the board, right? Also, you find someone that you can reach out to easily, right? That's someone who you know that if you vote for them today, by tomorrow they will not know your name, right?
Yeah,
Right?
That's not a good look.
Correct. Although sometimes I don't remember names, right? But I remember faces, right? So just remember, and she nominates someone who you know. After a few months into the game, you can still come to them and ask them questions, ask them for guidance, ask them for advice, assist them, whatever. So nominate someone who, you know, that basically don't nominate your friend,
Good
right?
track record.
Yeah, don't nominate your friend.
Unless your friend can do the job.
Right? Unless your friend can do the job, and you can respect them as a friend and also as a ASB, whatever.
Yeah,
right?
separate them.
So, separation is key within this whole. Nominate someone who you know will enable you to do better in your life, and also enable you to take chances, take risks as well.
And then the track record should speak. I suppose.
Correct, right? Correct. 'Cause if you know your friend or your person, they're very sketchy as a friend. Don't put them in the ass because it will eventually come out, right? You want someone that reflects the school's ideals, the school's
Spiritual philosophy.
yes, spiritual philosophy, the school's code of conduct, everything, and she have someone that actually can showcase all of that without question.
And even as you mentioned that, if I just jump in on there, because as you speak in terms of the person doing the nomination, of course, once the nomination is in, the rest of the electorate has a responsibility to ensure that person who they elect to serve on the ASB possess those qualities that you would have spoken
Correct.
of. So you know that they have that responsibility to just make sure they sift out, if you want to say,
Correct, yeah.
you know, the good leaders or the strong leaders, as the case may be.
Okay, so also I just wanted to ask, like, what are some like insights as as you're working here? What stuff like you didn't know, but before you came in, that like you want people to know? What's some stuff like that?
Well, I didn't know I had to attend all those meetings, like meetings upon meetings. That was an eye opener. But I appreciate it because now I have a chance. I had a chance to meet with high level person in office, whatever. So that was one thing that stood out to me, as well as to see first-hand insight, first-hand view into the school affairs, or the school's running. It's basically school runnings, right? So I was able to to see the financial procedures. I was able to see admission procedures, all of these things, and see, for example, that okay, good. One, let's say a student is, let's say a group of students, they are struggling in one area. I was then able to see what this school proposed to assist that student with and so forth. So the job itself, it will show you a large array of things, and it's now for you to basically take that up and to run with it, and to grow and to learn and to educate and to train yourself for the future, or your future after the year as ASB. So the job itself had its up and down. Mostly ups, I would say, had mostly ups. You will find persons, you'll find a few challenges when it comes to rules or decisions that you can't overturn, or you might find a chance where a case where you have to try to go back to the drawing table and go again, find a different way to bring about a plan, an idea, a proposal. So the whole job as ASB, and your team is also important. If I could draw back to the previous who nominate, your ASB team is gonna be the one that will guide your entire year within the ASB executive. A strong team makes a strong a strong team has a strong impact on the student body, right? Without a strong team or a segregated there's a big of element. Segregated team, it will show, right? Once your team is not strong and the team is separated, it will show. And once students see that, then they will be, okay, good, I wasted my time, I wasted my vote. So ensure whoever is the next ASB president, next ASB director, whatever, ensure the students' vote is not wasted, right? Ensure you represent the student need 100%. And my motto was, I will try my best to do it. I will not promise it will be done. I will try my best to do it. If I can't do it, I'll find a different way, a different method to approach the situation or approach the idea plan, whatever, right? So, in the job itself is a breeze. Not a breeze. The job itself is not an easy role. Coming to the job with a strong backbone and a strong vision point to get the work done.
Okay, that was very in depth. I really like that. That's really in depth. Well, to close off, I just want to close off that section. You know, that you have any advice for somebody who wants to run for president?
I almost said it when I was. Advice for someone running for president: take it up with all your might, your faith, your heart, and just go with the faith that you will, with the faith and the vision and the goal in mind to impact students and to make them see that you're representing them. You're not here to represent the school, the staff, the faculty. You're here to represent the student, and there needs to be their voice, team voice, right? So ensure you, my advice to the next president, male or female, take up the job and ensure you take it serious, right? You have a year within the ASB. You have close to 3,000 students to represent different denominations, male, female, different walks of life, different countries. Take up the job seriously and to just go at it and laugh, make jokes, have fun, but ensure you get the job done.
Okay, that's to reiterate. He's not leaving now. It still has a while to go. You know, this song's a bit too final for me. You know, you're making it sound like a post-mortem. But you know, I thank you for that insight. You know, it's like, but also I just want to know, because like, I guess I didn't really pay too much attention to like previous elections. So what were they like? Because I was there for this one. You know, it was an interesting experience. I just want to know, like, what's the previous ones like?
Well, I mentioned briefly or part in my previous response, team voice. That was my team's name in last year, March period last year. My team name was Team Voice, and the voice stood for
one plan, one
yeah,
voice.
Yeah, one plan. One team, one plan, one voice. Right?
Nice
Team voice.
Yeah.
And it was what color was orange?
Orange, yeah.
Orange, and it was a very funny period because we were all new to it, and you know we had a few person dropping out. I mean, the whole nomination period was also a chance for us to see, you know, the different personalities and just put together our team, and we had a strong team going forward. Lost a few persons on the way, gained about 3 persons on the way as well, because you know the other team, you know, sadly, you know, lost. So they came on board. They came on board to our team. So before Brent and Rasool gave their input on the reflections, my team, it was a great actually yesterday I called the director for public relations, Miss Belford, and I was going to the team voice Instagram page, and I was like, 2 tears came on my eyes.
Oh,
That just run through my right eye, because, and they're like, God, a few more months ago before we eventually, you know, leave, and we are no longer the ASB of last year. So next year, I'm looking forward to see the campaigning of this for the upcoming.
I'll definitely be paying attention.
I want to see it. I want to see what they're gonna do. Promote. Endorsement, all them stuff will be covered by the SAC chairman. Should talk about that as well. But I'll mention briefly as well for your team, and so your team name, team slogan, team motto, whatever, and also your endorsement videos. I can't give an endorsement, so please, you know, don't ask me for one. I can't give you one because I'll be biased if I tell, you know, team A, tell people for team A. So your endorsements, your bios, your campaign slogans, flyers, I'm looking forward to see all of it. I've met with 2 interested persons so far, and the ideas that they guys have, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. So Team Voice was, I'm gonna say without any bias, Team Voice during that year was, you know, we remain the best team. Yes, I say very with a sense of humility. But we will remain the best team voice that ever passed through USC during the pandemic. Let me say that during the pandemic.
Okay.
No offense
No,
to
I was
to, you know, to team Fuse.
So yeah, like you did stuff during the pandemic as well, right?
but I'm not sure what constitutes best.
Oh.
That criteria hasn't been
okay.
fully outlined. So
Touche the wood.
Oh, it's a bit vague.
no need to But of course, I had the privilege of participating during in the height of the pandemic. As a matter of fact, the team I was with, it was the first election held virtually, and I was a part of the team Fuse, fostering unity while striving for excellence. It was a very successful campaign. It was and as Mr. President shared, the enthusiasm in terms of putting out your flyer and your portfolio and these kind of things. It was a good process, nice learning experience, and it was something again in the virtual aspect of things. It was a lot of new, but nonetheless, it was a wonderful experience. I just want to point something out from a SAC perspective, however, as it relates to the nomination and teams and so forth. As it relates to nominating the candidates, they're all pretty much independent candidates. That's one person to understand. However, of course, when you are putting forward your nomination, if someone has indicated they're part of a particular team, for instance, I want to show what the teams are now, but if they were part of Voice or Fuse, then they would indicate that on the form.
Okay.
All right, but persons are eligible to, they are running as independent candidates, as all independent candidates. But of course, there's a plus, and I guess all the folks who've been here who've been on ASB can ensure that it's good to be a part of a team. Because you can hit the ground running with a lot of things, and how the dynamics are now, how it's set up. That if you're running and you have interest, you could find out what's happening on the ground, who are the persons vying in this election, and associate yourself with persons, the ideal usual leaders, as we would say. It doesn't mean anything will be taken away from you as an independent candidate. It's how you campaign, and it's the latitude you have. But of course, there's strength in numbers, and if you associate yourself with a group of persons who are hardworking and promising, then you can have some bit of interest being swayed or pulled in your direction. But just want to say, remain neutral in terms of all candidates. All right, all candidates being nominated as independent candidates, but of course, persons are aligning themselves with teams, which has proven very, very to be very successful for them in past.
Okay, well, finally, if anyone wants to give any advice for the teams now running and for the people running as well, just to close it off.
But just before, if I may, I just want to share two things quickly, because there's some dates that we need to just pay attention to.
Sure, no problem.
That's coming up. All right, so we mentioned, no, we haven't mentioned, but nomination day ends on March the 2nd. So between right now, this minute, and March 2nd at 11:59 p.m., that's where the period available for you to get your nomination in of the candidates. Of course, myself and Parliamentarian would have shared the criteria for the candidates. In addition to that, on March 6th, we have the presentation of the candidates. All right, and shortly after that, we're having the debate that we spoke about. That's happening later on. If I'm not mistaken, just make sure I get my dates correctly here so I can get them to everyone who's listening, everyone who's viewing. And all right, so March 20th, we'll have the presentation of the portfolios. That's a nice, there'll be at the chapel session. Of course, we invite the persons to come out and support the persons who you would have nominated. And as they, indicate what they're going to be doing for you throughout the period of service. And April 3rd. April 3rd is when we have that big showdown, or let's say the big presidential, the debate. Of course, there's a little bit of added activity for that. We're going to have a good, as I discussed with the president here, we're going to have a good election watch period. We will have students that are gathered in the area, and we're going to be able to just keep tabs on what's happening on election night as the ballots are being counted. So we're looking out for everyone to come out and just socialize and just watch, and as you seek to see your persons make their way to the top, being selected to run in ASB. And of course, final thing, which would be the ASB elections. That is on April 13th. And that's Thursday, April 13th. That's the big day.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Polls open at 7:30 a.m. Polls open 7:30 a.m. Of course, by the usual virtual form that's been be filled, which you can access that at usc.edu.tt/vote ASB. Okay, so you can access that form via that link, usc.edu.tt/vote ASB. And once you get there, you'll have that access to that form where you can vote. All right, and just make your voice heard on that day. Yeah, so that's pretty much the things to look out for as we progress through election mode.
Okay, well, right, yeah. So advice for teams.
Brent, you want to give first advice?
For the teams, my advice to you is that my main bit of advice to you is that whatever problems you may have, keep it in-house.
Yes.
Because you are not going to be elected presenting a shaky team.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I've always been telling this current team, and since before we got into office, is that our problems are to stay in-house, we solve them as a team, and then we provide a united front. You don't want to seem like the house weak on one leg, and people will jump on that leg and try and throw down the house.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one. And the next thing is don't make promises you cannot keep.
Correct.
If you know it's not possible, or you're not sure if it's not possible, get some clarification first and present ideal plans that can actually happen. You don't want to get the student population hopes up. Tell them we are going to build a multi-complex building, and that is not possible at this point in time. I'm not saying it's not possible at all, but it's not possible at this point in time.
And our budget.
So exactly. So be reasonable and present realistic plans. And finally, ensure that the persons that you have on your team are not persons who you like, who you think can can get you votes only, but persons who actually can get, as the president was saying, who can get things done. Your term in office is not just for you to put on your resume at the end of it that you served as this or that. It's for you to really help this institution move beyond excellence.
Correct.
And that's all I have for you today.
For me, I would start off piggybacking off of the Parliamentarian. When it comes to team, I want to encourage you guys to have a balanced team, right? Balance with majors, balance with nationalities, balance with religions, whatever. Have a balanced team so you can represent everybody on campus.
CARICOM.
Because you have a CARICOM team, right? You don't want to have a team that is only saturated with just, let's say, Trinidadians, or let's say Grenadians, or let's say bio majors, or psychology majors, social work. Have a balanced team with everybody from every school. Okay, you want to have the different parts of campus being represented, being heard, right? So I should be able to say the president, although she or he is from business, they are representing me or representing us from society. So you should have a balanced team. Also, ensure that your team, or ensure who's on your team, they are well versed in how to deal with conflict, how to answer questions in a professional way. Basically, you can have a session with your team before the actual election period is on, right? So ensure you have your team. Talk to your team. Communication is actually a keyword, communication, because you have to always have communication within your team, because if your team doesn't know what's going on, or they don't know what's going on from the inside or the outside, then you look like a very unbalanced or very shaky group of students, right? Ensure your team communicates to each other properly. Whatever you put out, ensure everybody is on board with it. Whatever you want to do, the president should not be doing everything on himself or on herself. Ensure your team is on board with your plans, or ensure your team is on board with everything, right? So teams, we're looking forward to see who you guys are and what you guys have in mind. As the Parliamentarian said, don't make promises you can't keep. I always say to myself, I will try my best to get that plan or get that item fulfilled. If I can't, I will let you know. Have accountability, right? So far, my PR director, she posts everything. If it can't be done, we post it. If it's cancelled, we say it's cancelled. If you can't afford, you can't afford, right?
Yeah, just be transparent.
So just be very transparent and be accountable for your actions. Do you have a small budget this size? Right? It's very, very small
to do this amount
of work, right? Yeah. Right? So don't come and don't promise the world and you can only give crap. Right? Right? So ensure you guys make smart choices. prioritize your plans and prioritize your goals, and for your manifesto they put out. Don't put off as manifesto, because your manifesto will then have students say, okay, you promised me a netball coach, in September. January next year come, there's no netball coach. Don't make false promises. Don't promise. Just put out your plans and let students know that you are aiming to get these things done at whatever period. All right. So teams, good luck. I'm looking forward to see if you need help, not help to rig or to cheat. If you want guidance as to advice on whatever, reach out to the current ASB. We are always open for questions. My number is public knowledge. You guys can text me, email me, email Parliament, email PR, email anybody in team, and you can get advice as to what and what not to do. Right? You want to meet with me? I'm always available. I'm not always available. I'm available once you let me know in advance that you want to see me, and I will be open to talk to you and give you tips. I'll give you tricks. No, I should not tricks. Tips. I give you tips as to what to do and what not to do when it comes to elections, nominations, and what not to do, or what to do and what not to do during your ASB tenure during the year.
Well,
So,
on that same note, even when we are no longer here, we have graduated, and you all are the new ASB. You can still try and reach out to us and get some advice. You could reach out to the president to get some advice on how to deal with certain matters, because he would have had that experience. You can reach out to the vice president on, yearbook and so on issues. You can reach out to myself on amendments to the constitution and how to deal with unruly executives or something. So, just ensure that you reach out to your predecessors, because they do have a wealth of knowledge.
and also, just a small point of order. Right, we are here till June 31st, right?
Right,
So
yeah, they're not going yet.
we're not going anywhere. Right, after elections, we are still ASB. They're not gonna say that, some person not saying after elections we're done, right? So after June 31st, we that's our last day in office. So once you guys are elected, at Saction, we let you guys know. Once you guys are elected, you guys will wait until when? September, the new school year to take up office. But then that don't mean you can come to us. ASB elect, right? Until you are sworn in,
Inaugurated, yeah.
we're in office still, right? I'm gonna hold on to our tenure for a little bit more, because we have lots to do still, and you will get it done. So good luck to the teams. I'm looking forward to see you guys rep and run and mash up the place in a very good, mature, and professional way. Yes.
You have anything to say? Or?
Sure. Of course, I will just want to continue to encourage persons to be involved in student leadership. It's an awesome experience. It works well for you in your academic journey as you seek to gather that bit of leadership experience, so you can also populate your resume. That is something significant as well. Don't take it for granted, and we just want everyone to just jump on board, just become familiar, get yourself involved in one or more ways with the whole procedure, the whole processes. Connect with the current ASB, connect with persons who have served before. Just get involved. We're looking to have a grand ASB, electoral process this year and stuff like that. So, in addition to that, I just want to, of course, just let persons or remind them that when you're choosing a team or when you're choosing to promote, to send a candidate for a nomination, be mindful of the persons you're choosing. We'd have spoken about that. We want strong leadership. You want leadership with integrity. And then you want someone who's not afraid to take on the challenges head on, to meet and deal with those controversial issues. Of course, I find comfort in a saying that I learned some time back that says, a pack of sheep led by a lion will defeat a pack of lion led by a sheep. All right. So again, it's a pack. If you're a part of a pack of sheep that is led by a lion, you can defeat a pack of lion that is led by a sheep. Correct, yeah. Okay, so bear that in mind. And last point, I just want to leave with persons as you become independent, but you're forming that team to lead in the ASB executive. Sorry, just want to remind us. I find comfort in Proverbs 11:14, which I always share. In the where there's no guidance, there is no safety. All right, but of course, in the multitude of counsel, there is wisdom. So just get together with a strong team and keep forging ahead and vie for election for ASB executive. And of course, you have the rest of us here to support you once you take that journey. God bless and all the best as you campaign and as you make your way to student leadership.
And replace us. Yes.
All right. Well, at this point, we would like to thank you all for tuning in. Our socials, you can find us on our socials or IG at usctt.asb and at the channel USC. Facebook, the USC's Associated Student Body. Linktree, usc.asb, and YouTube at the channel. Now, we thank you all for tuning in. We hope that this podcast will help you and that when election time comes, I should be able to my choice should not be easy. I need to see a bunch of qualified, cohesive teams.
Correct.
And I should be challenged in knowing who to vote for because there's so many good options. Right?
Very true,
So we will see you all next week, and we thank you once again for tuning in.